Welcome back to another episode of What If Naruto Had a Big Brother? In this alternate Naruto universe, one small twist changes everything. What if Naruto wasn't alone? What if he grew up with someone stronger, smarter, and born to rewrite destiny itself? Today, we dive deeper into the story of Kaito Uzumaki, Naruto's powerful older brother whose existence shakes the entire Shinobi world. New alliances form, new enemies rise, and the future of Konoha may never be the same again. So sit back, relax, and get ready, because this episode is about to change everything. It was a Friday afternoon, and I was sitting on the bench outside my apartment, lost in thought. A gentle breeze ruffled my hair while I stared at nothing, thinking about my favorite anime Naruto, and its disappointing sequel Boruto, Next Generations. Sigh. Boruto is getting worse every day, I muttered. They're just repeating Naruto's story again and again. As I complained in my head, I watched people walking past, everyone busy with their own lives, unaware of the inner pain of a frustrated anime fan. That's when I noticed her. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, running toward the busy road. Her mother was turned away, chatting on her phone, completely unaware of her daughter running straight into danger. "Hey! Watch out!" I yelled, but the noise of the city swallowed my voice. A huge truck was speeding down the street. The driver slammed the brakes, tires screeching loudly, but it was too late. He had lost control. The little girl stood frozen in fear. Her mother finally turned, saw what was happening, and screamed, a sound filled with pure terror. Without thinking, I ran. Time slowed. My heart pounded. The world blurred around me as I sprinted toward the girl with everything I had. The truck's horn blared, a desperate warning. My eyes locked onto the girl as I pushed my legs harder, forcing my body to move faster. And then, I reached her. I threw myself forward and pushed her out of the way, straight into her mother's arms. The mother's expression changed from horror to overwhelming relief as she grabbed her daughter and held her tight. But I didn't get to enjoy that moment. I turned back, and the truck was right there. There was no time to dodge, no chance to escape. I accepted what was about to happen, a strange calm washing over me. The impact hit like a storm. Pain tore through my body. I felt myself flying, weightless and helpless. And then, darkness. I floated in a silent, empty void. No pain. No fear. No time. Just nothing. "So, I guess I'm dead," I said into the emptiness. At least I saved the girl. I wonder what happens now. Maybe some religions were right after all. Then I felt something, a gentle pressure all around me, squeezing, pulling. It grew stronger, as if I was being drawn through a tunnel, pushed toward a new beginning. And suddenly, warmth and light. I heard voices. I felt soft cloth around me. Someone was holding me with love. "Welcome to the world, Kaito," a warm voice whispered. My vision was blurry, but I could see two faces above me, a man and a woman, looking down at me with pure affection. The man had spiky blonde hair and bright eyes filled with pride. "He's a cute one, isn't he?" he said with a smile. "He has the same hair color as you." The woman, with beautiful red hair and a gentle smile, held me close. "Of course he does," she said proudly. "He takes after his mother." It hit me slowly. I wasn't the same person anymore. I had been reborn. Into a new life. A new world. As I lay in my new mother's arms that night, warm and safe, memories of my old life felt distant, like a dream fading away. But one thing was clear. I had been given a second chance. And I was determined to make something out of it. The night outside was calm, but inside the sealed chamber, everything felt warm and full of life. Minato and Kushina held their newborn son close, unaware that fate was slowly moving toward them, and toward Kaito. Lady Biwako stepped back, allowing the family their moment. Kushina's eyes softened as she studied her child's tiny face. "Kaito. My little boy," she whispered, brushing a thumb over his cheek. But then, Kaito's eyes opened. For a newborn, that was normal. But something in the way he looked around made Minato pause. Babies usually cry, or blink without focus. But Kaito's gaze wandered, alert, curious, as if he understood far more than he should. Minato frowned slightly. "That's Unusual, he murmured. Kushina chuckled tiredly, thinking he was overreacting. Minato, he's just exploring. He's our child. Kids of Uzumaki don't do anything normally, Databane. Minato smiled, the tension easing. Yeah, maybe you're right. But deep inside, Kaito knew exactly what he was doing. This is real, he thought. I'm really here. I've actually been reborn. Into the Uzumaki Namikaze family. He couldn't speak, of course. His newborn body couldn't even move properly. But his mind was fully awake, carrying every memory of his past life. This is insane. Minato and Kushina are really my parents now? Does that mean I'm Naruto's brother? A mix of shock and awe filled him, but he forced himself to calm down. He didn't want to seem too unusual. The last thing he needed was Minato or Kushina thinking something was wrong. Kaito. Kushina said softly, noticing his tiny fists wriggling. It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy's here. Her voice was warm and comforting. Just hearing it made Kaito feel safe in a way he never had before. And then, the calm shattered. A sudden spark of chakra flared inside Kushina. The nine tails reacted violently. Its furious roar echoed faintly through the seal, shaking the room. Kushina winced, gripping her baby tighter. Minato instantly moved to her side. Kushina. The seal, it's destabilizing again. Kaito felt it too, a powerful, monstrous presence stirring right beneath him. The chakra was overwhelming, dark, ancient. It wrapped around the room like a hurricane contained inside a bottle. Kushina grit her teeth, forcing herself to breathe steadily. I'm okay. Minato, she said, though her voice trembled. It's just the aftershocks. Lady Biwako stepped forward, alarmed. Minato, reinforce it again. Quickly. Minato nodded and raised his hands over Kushina's stomach, infusing chakra into the seal. Blue light shimmered across her abdomen, pushing the nine tails back. Slowly, carefully, the monstrous chakra settled. Kaito blinked. Even as a newborn, he could feel how strong that beast was. He was lying directly on top of a raging force of nature. I was almost hit by a truck in my last life. Now I'm sleeping on top of the strongest tailed beast, he thought dryly. What kind of upgrade is this? Minato finally relaxed when the seal stabilized. He let out a long sigh. That was close. Kushina forced a weak smile. You see? I'm fine. Nothing is going to happen to me on the day my son is born. Minato reached out, brushing a strand of red hair from her face. I know, he whispered. Because I'll protect both of you. No matter what. Their eyes met, a moment so warm that it softened even the cold stone walls around them. But Kaito wasn't paying attention to that. He was staring at his father. The man who would one day become the fourth Hokage. The man who everyone feared, respected, admired. My dad is literally Minato Namikaze, Kaito thought in disbelief. This is a dream. This has to be a dream. But then Minato leaned closer, his smile gentle and full of love. We're going to raise you well, Kaito, he whispered softly. You're going to be strong. I can already tell. For the first time since being reborn, Kaito felt something new, a warmth spreading in his chest. A feeling he didn't have much in his previous life. Family. Kushina hugged him closer, her heartbeat steady, her warmth soothing him. Back in his old world, he had died alone on a street. But here, in this world, he had a mother who held him like he was her whole world. A father who already saw greatness in him. A destiny far beyond anything he had imagined. And though danger was slowly creeping toward the village, though fate would soon test this small family, for now, in this quiet sealed chamber, under the protection of his parents' love, Kaito drifted into the most peaceful sleep of both his lives. Days continued to quietly pass, blending into weeks as I adjusted more and more to life as an infant. It still felt surreal sometimes, the warmth of being held, the gentle kisses Kushina would plant on my forehead, the proud smile Minato carried whenever he looked at me. Love. Something I hadn't known in my previous life. Every time Kushina hugged me, every time Minato tucked me in, a part of that cold emptiness inside me thawed. I was no longer the lonely orphan I once was. I was Kaito Uzumaki, a child who was wanted, loved, and cherished. But reality hit me little by little. This wasn't just any world. I was inside the Naruto universe, the Naruto universe. At first, it felt like an impossible dream, but the moment I heard my parents say our full names, it all clicked into place. Kaito Uzumaki, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. I still remember the shock that hit me like a ton of bricks. Wait, wasn't Naruto supposed to be their kid? Why am I born instead? Does this change the story? The confusion lasted for days. I kept waiting for someone to yell prank, or for reality to snap back. But no, it was real. I was truly born before Naruto. I wasn't replacing him, he just hadn't arrived yet. And because of that, Minato and Kushina were both alive. Still young. Still happy. Still together. And they didn't die sealing the Nine Tails. Not yet. The weight of that future event hovered constantly in the back of my mind. I had watched these scenes countless times on a screen, but living through them? That was a different story. With each passing day, I tried to gather information the same way any baby genius would, pretending to sleep and listening to the adults talk. One evening, sitting in the living room, Minato spoke gently to Kushina. "I'll have to return to the front lines tomorrow." The words hit me harder than I expected. Kushina's face fell, tightening protectively around me. "Do you really have to go, Minato?" she said softly. "Can't you stay with us just a bit longer?" Minato's smile was full of sadness and resolve. "I want to. More than anything. But the war's getting worse. If I don't go, Konoha might fall." He pulled both of us close, resting his cheek on Kushina's hair. "I'll protect you and Kaito, no matter what." Something inside me twisted at that. Because I knew the future. I knew how the Third Shinobi War ended. And I knew Minato wasn't going to have much time before the next storm arrived. The next day, Minato said goodbye with one last long hug before vanishing in a flash of yellow light. That afternoon was peaceful, just Kushina humming while bouncing me on her lap. Until... knock knock. Kushina blinked. Coming. Who could that be? She opened the door, and there stood a gentle-faced woman with long black hair and a baby cradled to her chest. "Kushina," she greeted warmly. "It's been too long." "Mikoto." Kushina cheered. Come in. And this must be little Itachi." Itachi. The name alone made my heart jolt. Kushina quickly brought them inside. Mikoto sat beside her while holding a tiny boy with dark, thoughtful eyes that already carried the calm of someone far beyond their age. Kushina placed me next to him on the soft mat. "Look at them," she said proudly. "Maybe they'll grow up to be good friends." Mikoto smiled. "I hope so. Itachi doesn't interact with many babies his age." I turned my head, studying the baby next to me. This was Itachi Uchiha, the future prodigy, the future tragedy. A kind soul trapped in an impossible destiny. Even as an infant, he had that quiet aura, calm, observant, peaceful. His eyes met mine for a moment, and I swear, even though we were both babies, he seemed to evaluate me. Like he already sensed I wasn't normal. The mothers squealed softly in the background. "Kaya. Look, they're staring at each other. Ah, they're already getting along, you know." If only they knew the weight behind that moment. I was the same age as Itachi. 5 years older than Naruto will be. This changed everything. Later that night, lying in my crib, the house quiet and warm, my mind spun like a storm. I was living in a world of ninjas. A world where children carried trauma like backpacks. A world where Itachi would grow up to slaughter his entire clan. Where the Nine Tails would attack soon. Where Minato and Kushina would die protecting Naruto. Unless the timeline wasn't fixed. Unless I was the variable. Could I change the future? Should I? What if changing something made everything worse? I wasn't sure. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to watch Minato and Kushina die. Not after finally experiencing what a real family felt like. Not after being reborn into their arms. And I wasn't going to let Itachi walk alone toward a fate he never deserved. This world was filled with danger. But for the first time in both my lives, I had something, and someone, worth protecting. And I would grow strong enough to do it. Months slowly layered themselves upon one another like pages in a storybook, each one bringing me closer to understanding the world I now belonged to. My tiny body still limited me, but my mind, fueled by memories of my past life, raced constantly. I had one clear goal. Protect Minato and Kushina on the night Naruto is born. Every idea, every thought, every plan I made circled back to that night. I had watched it so many times in the anime without ever imagining I'd one day live through it. But now, the stakes were painfully real. The next major clue came the day Minato returned from the battlefield. Exhausted but smiling, he lifted me gently into his arms as he sat down for dinner. Kushina handed him a cup of tea and asked casually, "So? Why did the third summon you?" Minato sighed, rubbing the back of his head. "He wants me to take on a genin team," he said. "It's sudden. But I'll do my best." My mind clicked instantly. I was juggling the fate of the world from inside a baby's crib. Night after night, while Kushina hummed lullabies or Minato worked quietly at the table, I lay awake thinking, what if I warn Minato? Would he believe a toddler? What if I say something that changes things too much? What if saving my parents destroys Naruto's future achievements? What if removing Kurama from the timeline causes disaster later? The thought of Kurama being sealed was a double-edged sword. If Kurama escaped completely, Kushina would die. If Kurama wasn't sealed into Naruto at all, his future power would vanish, and the world might fall to Madara or Kaguya. Every path seemed to lead to danger. I couldn't walk steadily without holding onto furniture. I couldn't perform even a basic jutsu. But there were things I could do. I could train my chakra as it awakened during childhood. I could build stamina. I could sharpen my senses. I could learn, observe, plan, and most importantly, I had Minato Namikaze as a father. A literal genius of shinobi arts. A man who mastered the flying thunder god. A man who invented the Rasengan. If I played it right, I could train under the greatest ninja alive, from early childhood. Kaito Uzumaki, son of Minato, son of Kushina, a child with memories of the future. My life wasn't just a second chance. It was a weapon, a way to rewrite fate. And I would use it to protect the people who finally gave me the love I had longed for my entire life. The journey ahead was uncertain, filled with dangers waiting in the shadows. But with each passing month, my resolve only burned brighter. I would grow strong. I would change destiny. And I would protect my family, no matter the cost. Morning crept slowly over the hidden leaf, bathing the village in a gentle golden glow. The chirping of birds outside my window pulled me from sleep long before the sun fully rose. Today was the day. My training would officially begin. I sat up with a burst of excitement, only to immediately topple over from the enthusiasm of a 3-year-old body. Kushina's laughter echoed from the hallway. "Slow down, Kaito. You'll hurt yourself, you know," she teased while walking in with my clothes for the day. My mother helped me dress, humming softly. Her long red hair swayed with her movements, and even at such a young age, I could see why she was admired by so many in the village. Her presence was warm, protective, like a soft flame that never died out. Minato appeared shortly after, fully dressed in his ninja attire, his jonin vest fastened neatly. "Ready to begin?" he asked with a smile, one that made me feel both proud and nervous. I nodded firmly. Minato and Kushina exchanged a meaningful glance. After a while, Minato guided me to the center of the field. "Okay, Kaito. I want to observe your running speed and endurance." I nodded eagerly. This was the part one was waiting for: speed. Movement. The path toward being like Minato, Shursway, A. Kushina clapped from the side. "Go, Kaito. Let's see you zoom." I sprinted with all my little legs could muster. To an adult, I must have looked like a hyper-toddler running awkwardly in the grass. But Minato's face remained deeply focused, analyzing every step, every shift in balance, every twitch of effort. After running a few laps, I returned panting but excited. "You have good instincts," Minato said thoughtfully. "And your balance is better than most children your age." Kushina knelt beside him, brushing sweat from my forehead. "Your chakra control is good too. Just like an Uzumaki, you know." But then Minato's expression shifted. His eyes narrowed slightly. He lifted my small hand and pressed a thumb to my wrist. His chakra flowed gently through me. A tingling warmth. Then a sudden jolt. Minato's eyes widened. He slowly lowered my hand, expression calm, but deeply stunned. "Kushina," he said softly. "His chakra reserves, they're enormous." Kushina blinked. "Of course." His movements were crisp, sharp, and efficient. Even at 14, he carried the aura of someone far beyond his years. He performed his chakra-enhanced jumps, quick footwork drills, and kunai throws with mechanical precision. Rin moved more gently, her form graceful and fluid. She lacked Kakashi's raw explosiveness, but her chakra control was impeccable. Not a wasted movement, not a single error. Obito, well, he tried. He stumbled during footwork. Nearly tripped over a rock. Missed the kunai target completely. But he got up every single time. With a determination so earnest it grabbed your heart. The better you sense them, the easier it will be to control your chakra later. Kushina had taught me this in theory, but Minato's guiding chakra made it feel real, tangible. Next came physical drills. Minato had me run laps around the training ground, climb low branches, jump between stumps, and dodge padded strikes. It was basic, but it was more intense than anything I had done before. By the time I finished my third lap, sweat rolled down my forehead. "You're doing great," Minato encouraged. "Let's take a small break." I nodded, chest rising and falling quickly, but determination burning equally bright. Because I wasn't just running, I was building the foundation for the future I desperately needed to change. He was a great man. Before I could respond, Rin called out to him, and Kakashi walked back to the group, but not before giving me a nod of acknowledgement. A rare Kakashi Hatake sign of acceptance. Meanwhile, Obito approached me with a wide grin plastered across his face. "So, you're sensei's brat, huh?" he said teasingly. I raised an eyebrow. "Brat? Aren't you the one who was late because you helped a grandma with groceries?" "And not a brat," he stuttered, cheeks puffing. "It was a good deed. A heroic act." Rin giggled in the background. Kakashi facepalmed. Minato sighed but smiled warmly. Obito huffed. "Anyway, if you ever want to learn cool fire jutsu, come to me." Kakashi muttered from behind him, "You can barely perform fire style without burning your eyebrows." "Hey, I heard that." The banter was hilarious, but bittersweet. Because I knew the double life Obito would soon live. The pain he would endure. The mask he would wear. And I wasn't going to let that future happen. Minato clapped his hands. "All right. Warm-up's done. Kakashi, Rin, Obito, practice formation drills. Kaito with me." He pulled out 3 kunai and tossed them upward. Before they touched the ground, his hand flashed forward, blue streaks of chakra forming the beginnings of Rasengan motions. In one smooth movement, he caught all 3 kunai between his fingers. My jaw dropped. No matter how many times I saw Minato's precision, it always felt unreal. "Kaito," he said, crouching down again, "today, I'll teach you the most important principle a shinobi needs." His voice deepened, becoming serious. Awareness. He reached out and tapped my forehead gently. "You can have speed, power, chakra, talent, but if you don't understand your surroundings, you lose." I nodded firmly. "Now," he continued, "try to sense the chakra signatures of my team." I closed my eyes, focused, listened. Kakashi's chakra was sharp and concentrated, almost like a blade. Rin's chakra was warm and gentle, like a flowing river. Obito's chakra flickered wildly, like a campfire struggling to stay lit. Minato smiled. You sensed them all. Excellent. My eyes widened. I did. You did, he confirmed. And that's not something most kids your age can do. Then, his tone changed again, softer, deeper, lined with a quiet pride. Kaito, you're growing fast. Faster than I expected. My chest swelled with happiness. I'll become strong, Tuchan. Strong enough to protect you and Kurachan. Minato's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. For a moment, I saw something heavy flicker in his eyes, the burden of the future he didn't know was coming. Kaito, thank you, he whispered. We continued training for another hour before Minato called for a break. But as I sat on the grass, sipping water, a familiar chill crawled up my spine. A presence. Quiet. Subtle. Hidden. Watching. Just like before. My gaze shifted subtly toward the edge of the trees. Nothing there. But I knew. Someone was observing us. Someone who shouldn't be here. Not yet. A cold premonition prickled my skin. Kushina arrived moments later with lunch, smiling brightly, unaware of the shadow lurking nearby. And as Minato welcomed her lovingly, I kept my eyes on the distant tree-line. Determined. Because whoever was watching. They weren't watching Team Minato. They were watching me. As the weeks blended into a steady rhythm of training and rest, my progress became increasingly noticeable. Each day began with Minato's calm yet commanding voice, guiding me through workouts that pushed my young body to its limits. Bit by bit, my endurance skyrocketed, my reflexes sharpened, and my sense of balance grew more refined. But Minato wasn't done with me yet. After another morning of balance training, walking across a tight wire with nothing beneath me but air and determination, Minato clapped once, signaling a transition. Kaito, he said, now that your body is adapting well, it's time for the next step. My heart skipped. Was this it? Was this the moment he would unlock my chakra? Minato crouched in front of me, his blue eyes serious but proud. You've done incredibly well. Your stamina, strength, and balance are beyond what I expected of someone your age. Kakashi, Obito, and Rin paused their own training and looked over from a distance. Even Kakashi's perpetual mask of indifference faltered just slightly, the barest hint of acknowledging my hard work. But, Minato continued with a small smile, unlocking chakra is a delicate process. We must make sure your body is fully ready. I nodded eagerly. Tuchan, I'm ready. Please teach me. He placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. Before chakra, we must strengthen one last aspect, your coordination and reaction time. My eyes widened. How do we do that? Minato stood up straight, his expression shifting from father to Jonin sensei. With this. He pulled out a wooden practice kunai. But before he could explain, Obito jogged over, curiosity overflowing. Sensei, what are you doing? Teaching him kunai already? He asked with a huge grin. Minato chuckled. Not yet. These will be used for a different type of drill. Kakashi approached too, quiet, but attentive. Rin smiled warmly. He learns so fast. Maybe one day he'll catch up to us. Obito scoffed. TCH. No way. He's too tiny, there's no way he'll be faster than me. Kakashi deadpanned. Obito, based on how much you trip, even a toddler could outrun you. What was that? Minato quickly intervened before Obito started flailing around in protest. All right, everyone, back to training. This is Kaito's special lesson. They reluctantly returned to their drills, though I felt their eyes lingering with interest. Minato looked back at me. Let's begin. Minato grabbed a handful of pebbles and stepped back several meters. Kaito, he said, I'm going to throw these pebbles toward you, slowly at first. Your goal is to dodge without stepping out of this circle. He drew a circle in the dirt around my feet. Use your instincts. Don't think. To them, it must have looked like a 3-year-old weaving through an invisible hailstorm. But to me, it felt like instinct. my mother's Uzumaki stamina, my father's reflexes, and something else. A faint pulling sensation inside me, like chakra responding to motion. On the 10th round of throws, Minato's hand twitched. A pebble flew faster than before, an unintended flash of his true speed. It shot toward me like a bullet. Kaito. But before his warning could finish, my body moved on its own. I spun sideways. Not dodging. Flowing. It was a movement I had seen only in anime before. Fluid. Silent. Ghost-like. I ended up behind Minato, facing his back. Everyone froze. Kakoshi's eye widened a fraction. Rin covered her mouth. Obito blinked in shock. Minato slowly turned, astonishment written clearly across his face. Kaito, how did you? I didn't know. It just happened. A cool breeze drifted between us. Minato crouched down in front of me, gripping my shoulders gently, eyes sharp. That movement you just performed. His voice held amazement. Was a shunshin variant. My breath caught in my throat. A shunshin? At 3 years old? That shouldn't be possible, Minato whispered. Not without chakra. Not without training. He placed a hand above my stomach, sensing. And for a brief second, a flicker, a pulse of dormant chakra responded to him. Violent, deep, controlled yet massive. Just concentrating. Minato placed a hand on his son's back, sensing his chakra flow. And his calm expression flickered. Only for a split second. But Kaito caught it. Minato? Kushina asked, noticing the change. Minato shook his head quickly, regaining composure. It's nothing. Kaito's chakra is simply a bit more active than normal. But that wasn't true. Minato had felt the surge. Deep, vast, ancient. And Uzumaki's chakra was already enormous. But Kaito's? His chakra wasn't just big. It was awakening. Kushina narrowed her eyes, instinctively protective. Kaito-kun, you didn't push yourself too much, did you? No, Kara-chan, Kaito reassured her. I'm just excited. Kushina smiled, pulling him into her arms. Even when we were perched high on a tree branch, swaying gently in the breeze, she managed to make it feel like home. A mother's warmth could turn any place into comfort, even a battlefield training ground. Below us, Team Minato was in the midst of their bell test. The same test my father had used countless times, but today felt different. Kakashi, now a newly minted jonin, moved with a maturity far beyond his years. His Sharingan eye remained covered under the Hitaiate for now, but even without it, his movements were sharp and unforgiving. Rin supported with flawless chakra usage, keeping Obito steady, boosting his stamina, and forming perfect teamwork triangles. His ease with speed and prediction was something I could only hope to reach someday. Rin sent a volley of kunai. Kakashi charged with a feint. Obito appeared from behind with a surprise fireball jutsu. The teamwork made Minato smile proudly. But in a blink, Minato parried Kakashi's kunai, kicked Obito's fireball trajectory off balance, and caught Rin's wrist gently, robbing her of her momentum, all without breaking a sweat. Nice try, he said warmly. Obito fell to his knees. It's impossible. Kakashi scoffed, panting lightly. You talk too much, Obito. Rin giggled. We almost had him. Minato tapped one of the bells dangling at his side. Not bad. Not bad at all. Kushina bumped her shoulder against mine. See? Your Tuchan is amazing, isn't he? I smiled softly. Yeah, he really is. But that admiration held something deeper now. A fear. A responsibility. Because I knew what was coming. Kakashi's Jonin promotion meant only one thing. The Kanobi Bridge mission was close. Close enough to taste the tension in the air. Close enough to feel that eerie shift in the timeline, the calm before Obito's tragedy. My fists tightened reflexively. Kaito, if you want to save them, if you want to save anyone, you need to grow faster. Once Team Minato wrapped up the bell exercise, Minato waved us down to join them. Host of the Nine Tails, master of chains, barriers, and advanced chakra reels, would be my teacher. She smiled warmly. Don't be scared. Fuinjutsu isn't only about power, you know. It's about control, discipline, understanding the flow of chakra. She poked my forehead. And you, Mr. Tiny Powerhouse, need control more than anyone. I laughed sheepishly. Kara-chan. Minato called out, Kaito, ready to practice with us. Kushina waved him off. Not today, Minakoi. Kaito is learning his clan's art now. Minato smiled proudly. Already? So soon. Kushina placed her hands on her hips. Well, he mastered tree walking in a week. He's an Uzumaki. What did you expect? Obito leaned in toward Kakashi. Is that good or bad? Kakashi sighed. It means he'll surpass you at this rate. What? Rin laughed softly. Kushina guided me to a clear patch in the training ground. All right, Kaito. Let's start with the basics. She produced an ink brush and unrolled a scroll with small, delicate symbols. These are chakra formulas, the backbone of all Fuinjutsu. My eyes widened. The symbols pulsed faintly with chakra even before touching them. They reminded me of complex circuits, elegant, ancient, powerful. Kushina dipped the brush and handed it to me. Try copying this one. She pointed at the simplest symbol, the basic chakra retention formula. I began slowly. The brush trembled slightly. Kushina hovered behind me like a warm shadow. Easy, Kaito. Fuinjutsu is all about steady breathing. I inhaled. Exhaled. Let chakra flow from my core to my fingertips. And the ink responded. Stroke by stroke, the formula bloomed on the scroll. Sharp, clean, precise. Kushina blinked. Minato paused mid-sentence with his team. Kakashi glanced over. Rin gasped. Obito dropped his kunai. Kaito, Kushina whispered. That was nearly perfect. My heartbeat raced. Did I do it right? Kushina grabbed the scroll and compared it with the original symbol. Then tears welled in her eyes. Not big sobs, soft, pride-filled droplets. Kaito-kun, she whispered shakily. You really are an Uzumaki prodigy. Minato appeared behind her, stunned. Kaito, I've never seen a child grasp the formula so quickly. Even Kakashi muttered, impressive. Rin beamed proudly. Obito clenched his fists. What is this kid made of? But Kaito only felt something warm blooming inside him. Not pride. Not arrogance. Belonging. For the first time since being reborn, he felt truly connected to the clan whose blood flowed in his veins. And deep inside, something stirred in response. A faint red glow in his chakra coils. A dormant power shifting awake. Minato paused, sensing it with keen perception. Just thinking. Obito sat beside me, swinging his legs off the tree branch. You think a lot for a little kid, he joked. Is that bad? Nah. His voice softened. Kakashi thinks too much too. I smiled a little. Obito looked at the sky as if it held answers. You're really lucky, he said suddenly. You have Kushina-san and Minato-sensei right there with you. A whole family. There was a crack in his voice, subtle, but unmistakable. My grandma is nice and all, he continued, but it's not the same. I looked at him fully then. For the first time. He didn't feel like an inevitable villain. He felt like a lonely kid, desperate to be acknowledged, loved, and understood. No wonder Rin meant the world to him. Rin whispered, what was that? Kakashi frowned. Explosive jutsu. Multiple users. Obito's hands trembled. That means Minato-sensei is already fighting them. Kakashi took off again. We keep moving. Sensei trusts us, don't slow down. But Obito lingered a moment longer, staring into the distance where explosions lit up the skyline. Minato-sensei, be careful, he whispered before running to catch up. That same moment, miles away, a shock ran down my spine. A pulse. A crack in fate. It hit so hard I nearly dropped the teacup in my hands. Kushina noticed immediately. Kaito-kun? Are you okay? I clutched my chest. I don't know. Something feels wrong. And in that split second, I understood. Every rustle, every snap of a twig, every gust of wind stirred unease in their hearts. Kakashi led the group, expression stoic but eyes sharp. Rin followed behind him, her med kit bouncing lightly with each step. Obito trailed last, panting slightly but keeping pace, determination burning brighter than the fear in his chest. As they reached a rocky hillside, Kakashi raised a hand. Stop. Obito froze. What? Why? Look at the ground, Kakashi whispered. The soil had deep indentations, not made by animals. Footprints. Heavy ones. Rin knelt and examined them. These footprints are recent, and big. Must be at least 4 or 5 enemy shinobi. But Kakashi's expression darkened. No. These are too far apart. And that wraps up today's episode of What If Naruto Had a Big Brother. Kaito's journey is only getting more intense, and the future of the ninja world is changing with every step he takes. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see what happens next, make sure to hit that like button, share the video with other Naruto fans, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Drop your theories in the comments. I love reading them. See you in the next episode.